Hey guys, Chris Crawford with Spring Branch Air Conditioning. We got asked today to look into a new float switch for emergency drain pans. And you know me, when I say look into it, I literally take it apart and look into it. So that's what we did today. Thought I would go over it with you. So here's the AquaGuard, which is the main brand that everybody typically uses in their emergency drain pans. And so I really had to like tear this thing apart to get to the top to see the electrical connections. As you can see, this little pin right here just holds this electrical part in here. You can, slide the pin and take it out if you like, but I'll let it sit in there. And so your electrical connections, your 24 volts go right here. And then the thing that makes this activate is that on the inside, there's a little float that's buoyant, right? And so when water fills up the pan, there's a magnet in there, and when that floats up, you can see that the switch goes up, right? So it's two positive or two negative terminals that are forcing against each other, which causes that switch to go up. The problem with this design is that if there's water in the pan and it floats up, it'll turn it off, but if the water over the next several minutes starts to flow out, it'll turn the unit back on. And so it could go on and off several times before the homeowner actually realizes that there's an issue, and that could be problematic. This is the new Big Goose, or the BG101, I think they call it right there. And so the BG101 works a little differently. I took the top off of this one as well. You can see the top is over there. You can see the terminals are literally just floating on the inside of this thing on top of a couple of springs in there, right? There's the two little springs that are just sitting there. So this little electrical connector is just literally floating right on top of those springs. And then on the inside of this one, there's also a float. I had to put the bottom back on this one. You can't really see the float, but you can see the float is actually inside of the unit there. When this one floats up, it does something different. It gets to here, and you can see, watch the terminal. When it comes up, you can see the terminal go down, right? So instead of having two positive or two negative terminals forcing against each other, you have a positive and negative that attract each other. And so it sucks that terminal down, turning off the 24 volts, but then it stays connected, right? And so once this unit is activated, the AC unit's not gonna come back on. Does it make sense? Somebody physically has to go up into the attic space and flip that back down to reset it. So the first time it clicks, doesn't matter if the water goes out or not, it's gonna stay in that off position until an HVAC professional comes around and fixes the issue. I kind of like this one better in the fact that it locks and stays in the locked position. The electrical connections seem a lot better. Like I've got a lot more surface area for the electrical connections versus this real cheap little switch here. We've had these to where they should have been activated and did not activate, even though the switch was up. And so it's because the switch there is a pretty cheap switch. This seems to be a little bit better. Here's the other side of those electrical connections. I think it's just a little bit better of a design. By the way, I didn't have to ruin this thing to get into it like I did this one. So pretty interesting. Overall, I think it's a better design. It's brand new and isn't in the stores yet. So question would be is how much is it going to cost? Like if it's going to cost me $100, then no, it's not any better. So question is what's the price differential? And is the price differential going to meet, the better design? We'll have to see. Anyway, peace, guys.